So the UFC 305 press conference wrapped up last night. I actually watched it, but it was so uneventful that I decided not really to make a video on it. And, you know, hold on. Hold on, guys. I decided to make a video today because not only am I more confident than ever that Dricus du Plessis is going to whoop Adesanya on the night of the fight, but I also see the Adesanya fans out and about, and I cannot believe that they're getting away with this. So I'm going to be reacting to some of the comments from the Adesanya fans that are just so delusional about how easy this is for Izzy. And before we get into that, let me just give a, kind of a quick recap of the press conference itself. So the first things first, we saw this big blundering fool. I don't know who the fuck this motherfucker is, but we saw this big blundering fool ruin the first 5 minutes of the press conference. It was like a boxing press conference. This guy got up and just straight up yapped and rattled on and on about thank you to this guy, the director of the board of the moment. And then, of course, he started mentioning things like he went down the whole list for every single fight. Walter Walker takes on, Ryan Spann in a must-watch TV fight. And there was no fucking energy behind anything that he was saying either. Let's listen in.
And to only purchase tickets via official retailers and partners. That is Ticketek.
Shout out to Ticketek. We all want to really hear about Ticketek right now. And before you hear about Ticketek, let's hear about Ticketmax. You can buy your tickets at Ticketmax. Fuck you! Shut up! Don't ever come to a press conference ever again, son. But he's quivering while he's talking. This is like the Australian Mr. Quivers. And he's just rattling on for like 5 minutes straight. I mean, let's hear what he's saying here.
Weight title is on the line between current champion Dricus du Plessis.
We know that Dricus du Plessis and Adesanya are fighting. You don't need to tell us. They're right there. That's why we're watching, not for you. We don't need you to fucking, wipe our ass. We don't need you to, push us on the bike with training wheels. We understand. We're at the fucking press conference to listen to the fighters speak, not you. These guys need to get this through their heads, all right? Goodness gracious, man. Do this at the end. Either way. They asked too many questions to Kai Kara France. Let's go to a Kai Kara France moment. Listen, shout out to Steve Ercik. I think he should have won his last fight, but he's got the freaking personality of a paper box, dude. All right? No, I actually like Steve Ercik, but, bro, I swear, 75% of the questions were to Kai Kara France and Steve Ercik. I don't even understand how the media cares that much about a Kai Kara France fight. You've got Adesanya and Dricus du Plessis up there with the rivalry of a century, right? And that rivalry has deep roots. And you're asking Kai Kara France a million questions? Come on. We don't really give a fuck about Kai Kara France. We want to hear about Adesanya and Dricus du Plessis. And we want the reporters to provoke moments from them. And they got one moment. They asked, Dricus du Plessis, about his words on Adesanya, and he doubled down and he said, where do I reside? Where's my postal code? Where do I train? And he said, I just spoke facts. I live here. I was born here. I don't have the best Dricus du Plessis accent. And Adesanya was like, I don't really give a fuck where he's from. I'm going to show him where he's from. And Dricus du Plessis said, whatever that means, which was a really good response. And, Adesanya did the usual. He was discrediting me and Usman and the Three Kings, and he could have joined us, but he chose not to. Either way, this is entertaining, and the reporters, after this moment, for the rest of the press conference, just asked Kai Kara France questions. And, man, it's just like, come on. What are you doing? They were a little bit better, though, than the usual media that we have, because there weren't any questions like, hey, what would a win mean here for you? There were none of those. So at least they seem like they're real fight fans, or, they're actually in tune with what's really going on, and they have brains. But come on, how much of a brain if you're only asking Kai Kara France questions? But let's get into these comments from the Adesanya fans. So Adesanya is the reason some of us got into the UFC. Be for real. First off, is that true for anyone? I started watching in 2017. Maybe it's true for some of you. I'm not really going to critique that one too much, but this is like a fucking classic example. 5,000 likes damn near. And, you've got this guy who's one of these, Izzy's about to remind y'all for real. He ran the division for years. Keep crying, Strickland fangirls. He'll get his rematch. Relax, dude. Strickland will get it. Dricus du Plessis is a loser. He's a bump on the road. Shouldn't even be here. They're acting like Dricus du Plessis didn't have the most close fight you could ever imagine against Sean Strickland. And they're just saying, Izzy's about to remind y'all he ran the division for years. Yeah, with robbery after close fight after close fight that put fans to sleep. Actually, from the moment he came down after a loss to Jan Blachowicz, so it's like, okay, you're not even coming off of a win when we're starting this conversation. You're coming off of a loss. He got the gifted decision against Robert Whittaker. Christmas came early. Slow fight, and he lost. Not impressive for Adesanya. We had a shit fight with Marvin Vettori before that. We had a dog shit fight with Jared Cannonier and a loss to Alex Pereira. So we had two of his worst, most boring, sleeper fights ever. And then we also had two losses to Strickland and Alex Pereira. And then you want to say, well, then he beat Alex. Okay, well, then he lost to Strickland. That's called running a division. Because before he moved up, you know what he did before he moved up? Well, he beat Robert Whittaker. That was great. That was back when Adesanya was actually consistently an entertaining fighter. And then he lost to Yoel Romero. and then he freaking beat Paulo Costa. And, people these days, they'll talk about, the former double champions, and they'll say things like, I don't think Dricus du Plessis or Leon Edwards should move up until they defend their belt 6 times. Look at what Izzy and Volkanovski and all these guys had to do. Adesanya had the easiest path to double champ status after his second title defense, the first of which was a robbery against Yoel Romero. He moved up. It was pretty easy for Adesanya. And then, of course, he lost. But, I love how people act like Izzy ran things and Izzy was, dominating. He wasn't. He was never dominating. Y'all must have forgot what Izzy was doing to these middleweights, bro. Izzy wasn't doing anything crazy to these middleweights. He was losing to these middleweights. He was, having extremely close, boring fights that could have gone to his opponents with these middleweights. You know what I mean? What was he doing to these guys? Aside from the Pereira 2 fight. Whoa, wait a second. I just realized. Aside from the Pereira 2 fight, let's just be honest about this. Adesanya's entire title reign, starting with, the Whittaker fight. Okay, the Whittaker fight, let's count that. He had 2 good fights in his entire title reign. Every other fight was either a loss or it was so stinky and so underwhelming that people fell asleep. That was the majority. That's 90% of his title reign. So what was he doing to these middleweights? Having a 48-47 against Jared Cannonier that was the most forgettable fight ever. A Marvin Vettori fight that sucked. People, that literally put us to sleep. The highlight was Adesanya slipping punches from, the big oaf Marvin Vettori. It wasn't even Adesanya beating him up. And then you look at what other people can do to Marvin Vettori. I just don't understand what they're saying. They want to kiss so bad. The stare down, we got to talk about the stare down because they were in each other's grill for 2 minutes straight. Adesanya was literally freaking snarling at him. You could hear Adesanya growling at Dricus du Plessis, but I actually think Dricus du Plessis had the perfect kind of countenance in this stare down. Just, a smile and wave type of face in Adesanya's face. And I honestly think it was great. He showed no respect. He didn't feel like he needed to turn up the heat, right? Adesanya was bringing the heat. He didn't need to. He just stood right in his face and let him know that, I'm not fazed at all. So it was a good stare down. Adesanya, people were going to talk shit again. People are going to shit on Adesanya, man. I don't understand it. He's one of the greatest champions in UFC history. It's just the Izzy hate's so weird, man. We're going to get to one of those comments. Someone said the Izzy hate's so weird, man. The Izzy hate's so weird, man. I'm joking. It's not actually that, it's actually hard to like the guy sometimes. But listen, I like the fact that Adesanya's pissed. It kind of sells this fight in and of itself. Adesanya just being mad at his opponent is a good thing for promotion. And you could tell he really doesn't like Dricus du Plessis. But again, people are acting like, he needs to teach Dricus du Plessis a lesson for one comment a year and a half ago. One little comment a year and a half ago, and Adesanya is this pissed. I don't know. Adesanya is very sensitive. He held a grudge against 2 kids. Alex Pereira's kids, just because they emoted on him when they were 2 years old. after their father beat him up. And then he flopped on the deck like a fish after he knocked out Pereira. So MMA Guru says, my only worry was that Dricus might struggle with Adesanya's length and frame, but after seeing this and them square off, Dricus has got this. Yeah, so basically that's one thing that we're noticing is that he goes on to say Adesanya is 6'2.5" at best, frail. He's going to get mauled and finish inside of 2 rounds. I want Dricus du Plessis to finish Adesanya inside of 2 rounds, but it might be one of those long games that Dricus du Plessis plays where he's trying to drown him. It would be awesome to see him finish Izzy, but Izzy is pretty durable. Either way, Dricus du Plessis was wearing some lifts. Let's not act like he wasn't. You can't really see it here. Look at this. I mean, that's like a good solid 2 inches right there of shoe. And Adesanya's also stacking high on some lifts as well. So maybe both of them are wearing lifts. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty evident. It's pretty evident that Dricus du Plessis is a lot bigger than we thought compared to Adesanya. But every time I see Dricus du Plessis face off with people, I'm always surprised. He was taller than Whitaker. He was taller than Darren Till. Wasn't taller than Strickland, but was basically right there. He's only listed at 6 foot, but I think he is actually taller than 6 foot. And Adesanya is definitely shorter than 6'4". I would say Adesanya, maybe 6'2.5". But I think Dricus du Plessis had the lift advantage, maybe a solid half an inch lift advantage over Adesanya. They're both wearing pretty high shoes. They both look like low top shoes, but they have a big heel to them. Izzy KOs Dricus, and all of a sudden, glass breaks. By God, it's Sean Strickland with the Money in the Bank briefcase. Okay, glazing Sean Strickland. DDP's just been babysitting the belt for Izzy? Really? Just been babysitting the belt? Again, the way that they talk about the belt belonging to Adesanya as if he didn't lose half of his fucking fights. As if that belt didn't belong to Whitaker as well. Okay? You could have literally just said, the belt has been babysitted by Adesanya by the time he fought Whitaker in the rematch, and Whitaker should have won that shit. Babysitting the belt? It's a hot potato belt. It's anyone's belt at this point. Everyone's had that belt. Everyone's taken turns on that belt at this point. To sit here and act like it's Adesanya's is crazy. Adesanya is clearly in the same state of mind as he was against Costa. This fight is crucial and almost personal for him. I hope DDP is ready to take it. Every blow, every kick will be sent to make very badly. Okay, this guy has a fucking anime profile picture. I just realized that. So he's talking about every kick, every blow. This fight will have a finish, and it will be by TKO, and I'm betting everything on Adesanya. Dude, this guy thinks that Adesanya fights like Yuri Prohaska, dude. Like, this is the thing. Adesanya, it's so funny when he's saying, I'm coming for heads. Yes, he KOs people sometimes. And that's the thing that people forget. I'm going to make a best strikers video. Adesanya is actually like a guy that relies on big bopper KOs. He's the guy that relies on big booming shots. If he doesn't land his big boomer shot, okay, if he doesn't land the big bopper with his eyes closed, leaning back up against the fence, or sometimes he has a slick one too. If he doesn't land one of those big shots, he's going to lose. It's as simple as that. They talk about him like every kick, every punch, like Adesanya's marching his opponents down. Not a care in the world of if he gets hit, and he's just chucking punches. He's not doing that. He doesn't even move forward. This guy's pitter-patting at range, throwing lazy jabs. I don't know, like every kick, every punch, dude, he's going to land like 3 leg kicks and a couple of weak punches early on. And if he doesn't get a big KO, he's going to get steamrolled on the feet. That's my prediction. I think Dricus du Plessis is going to beat him up on the feet and take him down every once in a while. But I think Dricus is just going to break him on the feet. He will finish Dricus like he did Costa to teach him a lesson. Teach him a lesson for what? For saying one little quote, one little quote a couple years ago? I mean, goodness gracious, man. Listen, I love the fact that this build-up has some heat on it, but it's funny. To teach him a lesson. That's funny as hell. Dude, Dricus du Plessis is the one that should be teaching Adesanya a lesson. Teach him some humility. Everyone's saying, Adesanya needs to humble this guy. Dricus du Plessis is humble. Adesanya is the one that's talking all the shit in the build-up to this fight. Dricus du Plessis has not gone out of his way to talk shit about Adesanya at all in the build-up to this fight. Adesanya is consistently making posts online, calling out Dricus and his ancestors. And, he's the one that's stirring the pot at the press conference. He's trying to get Dricus du Plessis to bite on the bait. If anything, Dricus du Plessis is the one that should be humbling Adesanya. Adesanya is the loudmouth, trash talker, the guy that's fucking snarling in a stare down, that's making 1,000 edits about the press conference. He's the loud guy. He's the guy that needs to pipe down. Okay? Him and Kai Kara France need to pipe down. It's fucking City Kickboxing is such a lame team, dude. Even Dan Hooker, Kai Kara France, Dan Hooker. They don't have a likable team, to be honest, but it is what it is. Can't wait to see DDP stand over Izzy knocked out against the fence. There's a possibility there. Izzy by murder. Nigerian flag. Okay. So this guy's not biased. But either way, it's all good. If you're Nigerian, you get to root for your guy, whatever. Where was this energy when he was facing off with Pereira? True, but he did have this energy when he was facing off with Pereira in the rematch. Listen, I'm not gonna hype up Adesanya as much as other people, but he did actually have this energy in the rematch with Pereira where he knocked him out. So I like the fact that Adesanya is pissed. I like the fact that he's angry. The fact that he's holding a grudge is actually a good thing. It makes for an entertaining fight. So we can't really slight that much. Cannot wait to see Izzy get humbled again. I wonder what his excuse will be, that he manifested losing. Yeah, probably. Probably that he manifested a loss. All right, guys. Well, that was the press conference. Just wanted to do a quick reaction to it. Best strikers video coming soon. It's going to be a deep dive into the best strikers, and we're going to rank them. Until next time.